You're watching The Honeydew with Ryan Sickler at your mom's house.
Welcome back to The Honeydew, y'all. We're doing it over here at your mom's house. I'm Ryan Sickler. Ryan Sickler on all social media, ryansickler.com. Want to hit you up with some dates, everybody. Edmonton this week, Thursday through Saturday. I will be there. Come on out. Check out some shows. And then in June, I'm doing like 6 dates with Tommy Buns over there. Richmond, Maryland, Atlantic City, Tulsa, Wichita, Kansas City. August 1st through the 3rd, I'm at the House of Comedy in Minnesota, and there'll be a September date in Baltimore. And again, as I say every week, thank you so much for all the positive feedback, the messages. I'm blown away, and I appreciate it. If you really want to help the show, tell everybody. Make sure you subscribe. Also, make sure you subscribe to Your Mom's House YouTube page as well. That's where the video comes out on every Tuesday. Website is thehoneydewpodcast.com. Merch there, shirts, hoodies, stickers. All social media links are there. Make sure you follow the show and email honeydewpodcast@gmail.com. And I want to say this again to all the old feasters. All Crab Feast episodes are now on their own feed. You go to thecrabfeast.com. It's there. You can resubscribe. There's a link drop-down menus right there, or you can stream every episode right from that site. So they're there. They're free. You'll get them forever. It's you no longer have to worry about missing any episodes. And here at The Honeydew, if you're new to this show, what we do here is we highlight the lowlights. We laugh at the adversity in our lives. And these are the stories behind the storytellers. And today, I'm very excited to bring this storyteller on for the first time. Crab Feast favorite, though. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Beth Stelling.
Hi.
Put it up top, girl. Yes. So glad to have you here, Beth Stelling.
A nice little clap in the back there. I brought 2 fans with me.
You didn't just bring 2 fans with you. You brought donuts with you.
I did.
And you were late because you stopped to get donuts, and that's always all right.
I'm just glad the camera's on this side because I'm missing a tooth on this side.
You showed it to me the other night.
Yeah, it's not for long. Limited time only that you're going to get to see that tooth missing. I feel like I finally adjusted to it being missing, and now it's going to come back.
Don't you find that like when you're missing one, you just put your tongue in it all day long? Yeah. And you're back there just hitting it all day?
Yeah, it's huge. It's a huge hole.
Well, before we get into, because you came with quite a bit, excuse me, will you please plug and promote anything you'd like?
He came with quite a bit of darkness.
Quite a bit of darkness.
I'm going to be at Comedy on State in Madison, Wisconsin, May 16th through 18th. And then I'm in Brooklyn at Littlefield, June 2nd. And I'm at Jimmy Kimmel's New Vegas Comedy Club, June 6th through 9th. And you can find everything at sweetbeth.com/tour.
What is it?
Sweetbeth.com.
Oh, Sweet Beth. Okay. I thought you said I thought you said butt for a second.
Sweet butt.
That's your website.
Tastyass.com. I need to buy that now. For my tastyass.com for videos
of my tour dates. Yeah. Well, I'm very excited to have you here. We've known each other for a while now. We had dinner the other night, and we just got to shoot the shit. It was a lot of fun. And you started telling me some stories relating to weight and your issues with it or struggles with it, which I also have. Like, I have a super unhealthy relationship with food. If I'm sad, happy, bored, like whatever it is, I'm just like, let's include food in that shit, you know? So and then you gave me a list of stories, and I was like, holy shit, these are fantastic. So why don't we
I woke up in the middle of the night, and I was like, sorority rush. Like, because I was just like thinking after dinner, you're like, just think of all the dark times. I'm like, everything that I've suppressed and surpassed.
You said that to me, and I love it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot on this list. So why don't we just start sort of
this will be my new hour.
Your just go back to childhood, because you say that's where all this sort of body shaming and guilt and everything was born, was it not? You're from Ohio originally.
Born and raised in Dayton, Ohio.
And how many brothers and sisters?
Started with 2 parents, and then my dad moved down to Orlando, Florida to be an actor.
Did he really?
Yeah, it's not where you go. He did stay down there, and he still is down there. There's a whole other reason of that, but my mom, I think early, she kind of blames herself a little.
I love this.
What?
He went to the home of Disney
Yeah.
to be an actor.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what
Disney,
kind of actor did he want to be?
Universal. Well, he ended up being Blackbeard at Pirates Cove Mini Putt-Putt Golf Course for a stint. And we got to free putt-putt all the time.
Laugh now, motherfucker. Next year, I swear to God, I'm going to be in that Pirates of the Caribbean. You watch. You watch. I'm coming, Disney.
I used to say my dad was Jaws on the Jaws ride, but...
You tell people that?
Yeah. Okay.
Wait, he was alive? I don't know. I've played a lot of putt-putt golf in my life. I don't know if I've ever seen a live mascot at any mini golf that I've ever played in my life.
The Altamont Springs area in Orlando, Florida. He would dress like a pirate from here down, and then he would put a big Blackbeard head on top of his head that they provided.
Oh, it wasn't even his real face?
No,
it was like that
it was
mascot
a huge head, and it rested on his shoulders. My dad always took all of his character jobs very seriously. I was an elf when he was Santa Claus one time.
So he had more than just Santa and Blackbeard?
This is actually part of my new hour. I've decided to sort of include it in my stand-up. And he was... he's all kinds of characters. He has his own business now. He bucked industry standards. He was like, screw Universal and Disney. I'm out on my own.
Does he have a roster?
He has a roster, a cast of characters.
And are his characters slightly off, Sponge Rob SquarePants?
No, it's never it's actually Sponge Steven. It's really doesn't even make any sense.
Is it really?
No,
Is it a V or a PH?
It actually often doesn't make sense because he asked me one time to help him name the pirate. And I was like, how about Arj? The pirate. And he's like, oh, that's really good. I looked on the website and he put Glitter. It's just Glitter the pirate.
What the fuck kind of Glitter?
So yeah, he basically, I don't want to just deliver you the jokes.
Chips ahoy! Glitter! Glitter! Where's Captain Hook? Glitter.
Because when I was on Crab Feast, everybody loved the story about my dad feeding raccoons.
Raccoons, yes.
That's also true. But he's a bit of a wild man. And
was he a good dad though?
I don't.
Eccentric, or are you not in touch? Or
I mean, I wouldn't know.
You want to go play around a mini golf and catch up with him, or
we had some fun, but he was really only with me the first couple years of my life.
Oh, he split that.
Yeah, and then I went a little while without seeing him, and then it was court order to go see him, and so it was because he had fought for some custody. So we would. Okay. So I've been flying since I was 6. I was meant to be a touring stand-up comedian. Preparing me early.
And
to
you
fly.
have a sister, right?
2 older sisters.
2 older. So he left all 3 of you girls with your mom.
Yes.
And
I mean, there's a lot of course, extenuating dark circumstances. It's not a classic leave, but nothing is.
Classic leave.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It wasn't bye, I'm walking out.
Kids.
Yeah, there was so many, circumstances happening. But he started his own business down there, and it's called Stars on Call. He calls them live roadside commercials or character directionals.
Wait, what?
It's starsoncall.com. If you go to the website, it'll probably crash.
He's about to get
I don't know.
3 people are hitting it at the same time.
You are one of 4 people. But anyway, so what? I don't know. How do we get going on this? Oh,
well, you said you started with 2 parents.
Right.
That's how we got here.
So, but they are both oddly linked, I suppose, to my relationship with food. Thankfully, I have never had an eating disorder like anorexia or bulimia. I mean, one time I ate a full bag of crispy M&Ms and I had to puke. But other than that, I mean, it was like this big. And once you get going on those, they feel so light and airy, and then they'll get you.
It's the M&M.
Yeah, and so I think I made myself puke it, but it was a horrid puke because it's it really wanted to stay in there.
Oh.
Yeah. They were like, no, And so, so thankfully never of that. But my mom will sometimes feel guilty. She's very much the sweet mother that's she would reward me with sweets, if I did well on a test or I didn't hurt a small animal and I behaved or something, or I did good in gymnastics. She would take me to get a snickerdoodle, which was my favorite cookie growing up at Dorothy Lane Market, or we'd go to TCBY together.
I remember
another dark memory there. Early, they got my ears pierced as a baby, and nobody was turning them.
Oh, I remember from getting my stupid ears.
Yeah, nobody was turning them. I was the youngest, and they must have forgot to do my turns. And my dad had to rip them. I just remember we were at TCBY and he ripped them out of my ear.
How old are you?
It had to have been pre-3 because he was still there.
You remember this?
I guess. Or it's like one of those things where your parents tell you, like, do this one time and then it comes into your mind. But yeah, he ripped it out of my ear. Why TCBY? Wait to get home.
Let me get that cookies and cream.
Yeah. I guess it is a sanitary feeling place.
It does feel pretty clean.
Since I've been here, like I've tripped over several words.
It's okay. It might be the sugar high.
Mommy made me mash my M&Ms.
Is that like a get ready for your?
Yeah, my mom's a music teacher, so there's vocal warm ups. Like,
and that's a mommy made.
That's one. Mommy made me mash my M&Ms. Daddy made me cry myself to sleep. That's not a classic.
That's new age.
The first time I had sex was with a doll. Okay.
You too? Okay, so is your mom a big lady?
No, but I've delved into, you delve into all these things. My dad did always make her feel. So that's actually, you've been linking some things.
Yeah, we talked
as
about,
a friend.
You got it.
Which is true because my now I don't know when my mom would have shared this with me or when it came into my mind or whatever, but my dad definitely gave her a hard time about her body, they used to kind of run together. I think he always wanted her to be thinner, but she also was never fat.
My pirate ship's got a weight limit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got
and nowadays everybody's talking like there's a lot of opinions on all of this. Like there's so much, if you just like delve into the world of fat shaming or fat phobia or whatever. I've had a couple people come after me for some of my jokes that I've told about myself. Like, you're fat phobic.
I've heard this before.
Yeah.
Someone else just said recently, like you make a joke about yourself and then they get on you about you.
Right.
But here's the thing we talked about before. Just, you may not be fat.
Right.
But that doesn't mean someone can't make you feel that way. It doesn't mean you can't. And again, we said you might not be dumb, but if someone's telling you you're stupid and dumb your whole life, then you grow up thinking.
Because honestly, sometimes you wouldn't know unless somebody told you. Like, I say that in my act where it's like, I have a condition where I always think I look good. Like, I was calling it reverse body dysmorphia.
That's great.
Because body dysmorphia is when you think you're fat, but you're actually stupid. And so I think, okay. But I'm sure somebody will come after me for that. And it's like, I don't, it's basically what people tell you about yourself kind of forms you, and how you're not a sponge. You have to learn, like, someone has to teach you those, like either to have a tough skin or something. But if someone tells you something, it affects you.
Yes.
Like, I remember a lot of times not really feeling a certain way unless someone would mention it to me. Like, I don't like being disingenuous, so I always preface it that I have a joke about this, but it's like, you're drawing your family in first grade, you finish your family, and then a little girl leans over to you who's also in the class, and she's like, "Where's your dad?" And you're like, "I'm supposed to have one?" Like, what do you mean? Like, you wouldn't have known something was missing unless somebody told you. So it's like, and then as I progressed, like, people tell you the things about you and you're like, oh, that's what I am. And so I guess, like, as I've grown as an adult, I've had to learn to not absorb. Even when it comes to stand-up or like comments or negative comments, like, you're not, whatever, the least harmful, you're not funny. And it's like, oh, maybe I'm not funny. It's like, no, it's more like you don't have to absorb everything people tell you. Yeah, but I think I did that for a long time.
I just had in a situation with my daughter where I was taking her to swim lessons, and she said something about walking together with her mom. She goes, and she's 4.5. She goes, if we were a real family, and I go, whoa, what did you just say?
Yeah.
'Cause someone's taught you that. And she goes, well, my one friend, their mom and dad live with them. And I go, I go, look, that's true. You're like, but honey, they're not having nearly enough sex to make it healthy. I'm just kidding. Trust me when I tell you. Traditionally, that's the, whatever, nuclear family, whatever you want to call it. I said, but look, I didn't grow up that way. Your brother, this kid, I'm listing all our friends. And I go, it's totally normal. It's totally fine. You are part of a real family. I don't want you to ever think you're not part of a real family. And I said, and by the way, and I'm straight up with her at 4.5. I'm like, some of those people all living together under that same roof, they're nowhere near as happy. They don't love each other as much. So don't ever worry about that. Yeah. She's like, okay.
And you're like, let me teach you about separate bedrooms. You're 4.5.
Get a good couch, good comfy couch.
I meant, like, certain events, of course, come to mind along the way where it's like, other comics. I think I told you this at dinner, like another comic who's a friend of mine and likes me. But I think I lost a bunch of weight right before I was about to leave Chicago. Chicago's a 4 a.m. bar city. There's food everywhere. I ate a lot. And I lost weight before I moved. And he was like, you look great. Yeah, but you'll never be skinny. And it's like,
I can't even like, I can't even get over it.
And this is like this is
like
so that. Many of these things said to me. Like I remember hooking up with this guy, and I think we had already done the deed, and that's what I call it. Why did I get sensory there?
I don't know.
We already fucked hard. And and then he leaned over to me and he was like, I've never slept with a bigger girl before.
Can't even. I would never even have the balls to say that to somebody.
It's
a bigger girl.
Yeah.
He said gal or girl?
Girl. I've never slept with a bigger girl. But here's the thing. When we joke and we laugh about these things, I think the issue arises for other people or whatever, because it's funny to me. I can laugh about it. I've written jokes about it.
That's what this whole show is all about.
Yes, but to other people, they say, well, the joke is because it's big is bad, or it's funny because he offended you by saying you're big, and it's like, I think the main issue or argument for a lot of these people who say these things are fat phobic is, big doesn't mean unhealthy and thin doesn't mean healthy.
That's right.
Which is true. There are very unhealthy people who are just bones.
Yeah. Smoking cigarettes or meth or some shit.
True.
Yeah, they fucking look good.
I later found out that the guy who called me a bigger girl also did heroin. So I was like, okay, well, we got to look for some clues in the future.
That's right.
I don't do drugs, so I'm not good at picking up on it.
Just standing up on the sidewalk, falling asleep wasn't a clue enough for you. That's like,
he was like, I've never slept with a bigger girl before. Could you pass me my hypodermic needle? And I was like, absolutely, doctor. No, but I don't think it was during my time. I think it was maybe after.
But I mean, how does that just makes you feel like shit?
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, I'm after sex,
and
you're vulnerable, you're laying there, and then not a compliment about the night or the sesh or any of that. It's
yeah. And I'm sure
he's going through his roster in his head, and
and he's like, "You're the first."
You know what?
And I wasn't even big.
Exactly.
It's like I always when I was like, I think the highest was about 200 pounds. Truly, it's like I'm tall. I carry it well. It wasn't like that big. Not like it would have been bad if I was, but it's just like it's all relative.
Yes.
I have this other joke where I'm like, when I was 200 pounds, I lived with a girl who was 100 pounds, and she would always call herself fat. I mean, she was a German Shepherd, but it affects everybody. I just think it's like, I think it's like what people tell you totally gets into the fabric of your being, and I think it's associated with a lot of things. Like I said, the treats when I was young, I got joy out of food. I
gotta watch that because I like to do the ice cream thing.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. I mean, but I don't know. And my mom and I still do that together. I left some Peeps behind at Easter, and she just texted me this morning. I ate 2 rows of the cotton candy. Surprisingly delicious.
Surprising.
But what she doesn't know is that my dad sent me those cotton candy ones for my birthday.
Would she eat them if she knew that?
Probably not. She doesn't even want him to pet her dog when he comes to town.
So but, yeah. You've got a list of things here, and one of these is your dad.
Oh yeah. This is linked to that probably.
All right, let's hear it all.
Because I think, like, when we had to go visit my dad, especially when I was younger, it was very much like, oh, dad is like trying to prove something. We would go there, and he would, it was like he was a vacation dad. It was take us go-karting. We go to Wet and Wild, which is some of my earliest stand-up.
I've been on the Der Stuka.
Yes, that was one of my first like stand-up stories that I told.
That fucking slide.
It
scared the shit out of me. Yeah. I've never been up on it.
I did it at 9.
So I was about 10 or 11. It was so high. It had Kodak moments on the way up where it's like, here's a great spot for a picture.
That's unbelievable. It's so I have a joke where I'm like, my sister goes down, my dad goes down, and I'm like tall enough to ride this.
This thing's a tall.
It was the tallest water slide I think in the U.S.
You cross your arms.
You're sitting
like this.
at the top. Yeah. So you
cross your legs and you tuck your chin.
You basically go like this.
Yes.
You basically go. You're going down and you basically go like this.
Yeah. I mean, gravity
straight down, like
you.
just straight.
Yes.
You're vertical.
It's nuts.
And they have you cross your legs, which at the time I don't know if I had the strength to keep them crossed, and I was like, like water straight up, and it was just like. It could have come out of my mouth. you know, and then I got up and I just like a gallon of water was like.
These somebody's goggles right here. Who's goggles?
And there was always a group waiting for girls' tops to fly up.
Oh yeah,
as they went down.
Because as a guy too, the guy told us if your legs come uncrossed, good luck with your balls. It's gonna just be like punching your balls all the way down. And my friend that we went with, he didn't tuck his head into his chin.
Your head will go like this.
It was doing, and it banged back so much that when he had a knot in the back of his head, and you get up, you're so disoriented, your bathing suit's up the crack of your ass. No matter what you do, you just blink and you don't know where the fuck you are, and everyone's just standing there watching.
It wasn't fun.
It was not fun.
It was just like, I'm gonna prove that I can do this.
I was like, I'm gonna do that once.
Do you know there was the bombardier one where you hold on, so you can just do regular deer, where you sit at the top and then get straight down.
Yeah.
Or you can do the bombardier, which was next to it, because there were two next to each other. And it's you climb in, you hold onto the handles like this.
Of what?
It looked like like a bombardier popsicle.
Oh yeah, okay.
It looked like that at the top, and you would like hold on to it. You'd step out
the
like
double stick.
If here's the slide that we were going down, it was next to it. We would sit here and go woo. This one, the bombardier, has a landing, and you step out onto the landing
and then
into
drop?
the thing, and they release the bottom, and you go.
Oh no! Nah.
Yes, and people would. I never got the courage to do it. What if you went a little that way? There was no nets.
No, and the sides aren't that high.
No,
yeah,
that
one
was
little
the
rock
scariest
and
part.
you're going off of there. Fuck that.
Oh my god.
That is nuts.
So yeah. Anyway, that was an early
Dad
formative experience.
You lived with mom. You played with dad.
Yeah.
Got it.
I mean, into like junior high school, it was like he would let us do anything. We'd drink. He'd let us get things pierced. My sister got tattooed. Yeah.
So you're going back to mom with tattoos and piercings and shit?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
One summer I got my belly button and my eyebrow.
Now people turn
and
nose?
maybe my nose.
You turn nose? I hope you turn nose.
I did turn these.
I wouldn't get
What if I still had it pierced?
My dad.
But it was Daytona Beach. They ran out or something and they put a belly size ring in my eyebrow.
Nah.
Yeah.
That's big.
Yeah. My mom was pissed for a lot of reasons, but very, very valid reasons. But, so then I ate a lot. My dad would be out dressed like a slice of pizza or doing whatever he was doing for the morning. Yeah. He would come in still with he'd take the slice off, but his face would still be fully red, and he'd wake us up or be like, girls, let's go. We're going to go to the beach. So he would do his shift, and then
I'm going to be eggs over easy outside of Denny's for about 3 hours. I'll come back. We're going to the beach.
Yes. And then we'd pack up this candy stripe van and go to the beach. But sometimes he would be working all day, and he also catered a little. And
did it all down there, huh?
He still does. And we'd just be sitting there all day watching the OJ trial or watching TV, MTV Spring Break, and just eating. That's what I would do a lot. And so I gained weight. That was around my freshman year, because we were just there for summer. Think about leaving all your friends for a full month of the summer.
No one else.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't have any friends down there. I met one girl one time, and she was strange. There's a dry heat there, and the crabgrass is upsetting. It's not fun. And so I never made friends. I had other family down there. My grandma was there, so she had a swimming pool, and there was good memories there. It's certainly not all bad memories or anything. But as we aged, you're just being pulled out of your ecosystem to come down to. And Christmas was especially upsetting, because it was my mom always got a real tree that was green, and they would get a fake tree that was small and white. You know what I mean? And that to me is the ultimate trash. And we're not even a rich family. My mom's a teacher. I don't mean poor. It was just trashy. So it was just two totally different aesthetics between my mom and my stepmother and my dad's house. There was a table they had that I used to imitate. It was a naked woman, she's basically the table is.
You've been the most physical guest in that chair so far. I love it.
The glass rests atop her nipples.
Okay.
And her knees. No. Her nipples and her wrists. Okay. So she's this, fully.
And this is the flat part of the table.
And this is that's what it rests on. And so there's a photo of me reenacting that. But I'll find it somewhere.
You're all right.
But I do think it does still exist. Anyway, different aesthetics. Then when I got back from that summer after eating, it was probably Munchies. I was introduced to Munchies, you know, the combos of Doritos, pretzels, something else in there. Yeah.
Shit, yeah.
And then I came back and had to run the mile because I was a field hockey player. And I remember my coach, after I ran the mile, I think I barfed. And you think about it now, it's really not that long. It's like, it's 4 laps.
It's a 20-minute walk.
But it's supposed to be a sprint. I think that's why it seems so long. But yeah, wow. I was slow, and my coach's son came up to me and he was like, "My mom said you got slow." And I was like, "I think that was just for you."
I was training down in Orlando.
Munchies in the OJ trial. But yeah, so that was like that, and then college happened. I'm trying to think of anything earlier that happened than that, because I didn't really.
This puberty story about your dad.
Oh, right. We would sometimes take a vacation when we went down there, with a vacation within a vacation to like Sanibel Island or Key West or Captiva. Mm-hmm. I think this was Key West, and it was already like a rugged trip or something. Meaning like my grandma came, but she was like having dementia type qualities. Like because they took her away from home and put her in this weird vacation house. Our aunt was there with her husband and they were like clearly about to divorce. My stepmother was drinking a lot per usual. And I showed up from college. I think it was right before my junior year of college maybe. And so what is that? Like you're like 20 or something. Yeah. And yeah, first thing my dad said to me was like, "You look like a little boy going through puberty," because my face had broken out in acne. And I was like, so God then of course damn. I started doing stand-up later, and he was like, and I forget the weight gain comment. He just said something, I can't remember exactly what he said, but that was my earliest stand-up, was about Wet and Wild. It was about, I went away to college and I came back and my dad was like, "More like the freshman 40, you know."
He said that?
And I said, "Well, Dad, I eat because you left us, you know." And I haven't washed my face since then either. So, I used to, yeah. Oh, he used to call me, like, he never saw me play hockey, but I was like an all-Ohioan and I was the captain and we went to state.
Were you? Mm-hmm. You're good at field hockey.
I played last night.
You did? Where do you play?
John Adams Middle School, Thursdays.
Wait.
At 9 p.m. if anybody's open. We're off next week, but.
Santa Monica?
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk about
it's an open league. Anybody who wants to play Thursdays. Santa Monica Field Hockey
Co-ed?
League.
I can get in there and mix it up
all
with you ladies?
levels. Yeah.
I don't think my back could take it anymore. You just you're hunched over the whole fucking time.
The key is to bend it to get down. You know what I mean?
Here we go.
You don't want to be like this.
Field hockey player.
You want to be like this.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
And really run like that the whole time?
No, I don't run a ton. I'm a defender.
Oh, you're just standing.
Sometimes I do some sprints up to try to score. But my dad never saw me play, even like going to the All-Ohio game or All-State game or something. And he would call me the Shaquille O'Neal of field hockey. Because he's from Orlando and he like loves Shaq.
Right, yeah.
He like got things signed for us by Shaq. And so then one of my older jokes was, "And you're the Tanya Harding of dads." It's a little dated now. But
That's
actually,
so good.
Thanks to Margot Robbie, I could bring it back.
I mean, here, I want to go
There's
through
so many.
How about this party trick as a child? As a child.
You read the sentence.
I'll read the sentence.
So I just sent him I just basically free flowed on things that were dark or traumatizing.
I like to ask people to just give me a line. Don't give me too much. Just specifically.
I gave you like 40 lines.
40 lines. And this line right here, I'm going to read that to everybody. It says, "I used to
earmuffs, Mom.
I used to queef on command as a party trick as a child." Who in the fuck?
Well, now I can't do it. I'm a lady.
Where's your 6-year-old daughter? Bring that little girl in here. Have a queef in here. Watch this shit. Watch this shit. Watch this shit.
I think I can still do it. Like, but really, I would put my legs behind my head, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, but both, like a pretzel behind my head, because I was a gymnast for many years, and essentially, I think most people, like, in order to protect themselves, assumed that it was my butthole. You know, like just to like,
nah.
you know what I mean? You know what I mean?
I don't know.
Yeah. And so So my sisters would always call it farting on command, but like, how could you not know? It was such a different sound. But like I had older sisters and they would have parties and like occasionally when my mom was out of town.
Get Beth up here to liven this thing up.
Yeah. And I remember eating a dog biscuit just to like make people laugh. I would kind of do whatever.
What would your mom do when you would do that? Would she freak out?
I think she was like working one of her 3 jobs and just like we weren't like full latchkey kids, but she worked a lot and she was a single mom.
Yeah, with 3 kids.
Yeah. So it was like she really did a great job raising us. I never felt like the kid that never had my parent home. She wasn't at a lot of school things because she, was also a teacher. But, yeah, I don't know. It would just basically like suck air and then really just let her rip.
And that
suck
was your
air
thing,
in there.
huh?
Yeah.
That's fucking beautiful.
And it would always get laughs.
Oh my God. I don't know what I would do. I would definitely laugh first at my daughter and then I'd be like, hey,
you have to stop
This is us.
doing that.
You're repping us. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, linking to that was the time, when you're younger, you always try to keep up with your sisters or your siblings and it kind of turns you into a cooler person, I think.
I agree. Keeping up with the older kids. You're faster, stronger, smart. Yeah. For sure.
And so I was a gymnast, like I mentioned, and I was good, but then I basically grew tall. But I remember like making the team, and I came one day with Lee press-on nails on because my sister had probably was like going to prom or something. And so I put them on, and there's a thing called the tumble track, which helps you practice your tumbling, but it's essentially on level easy. Because if you're doing like round off back handspring, back tuck on the actual floor exercise.
You could do that back in the day. You could do all those flips. I see the girls start in the corner like this. And
but I was never like a double back or anything like that.
But you could do one or whatever?
Yeah. Yeah. But I also was at the level where I was just doing mostly back handsprings or back walkovers or front handsprings. Like I was working on the tuck. I had the tuck, but I also wasn't like always confident of it. I later became a cheerleader, but I would only do back handsprings. I was never
really
like
good
a tucker.
At the pommel horse. Like I got really good at that.
Really? Like
no.
Oh.
No. That was my thing, I powdered my hands up and just went to work.
The vault always seemed like the easiest. Just like just bouncing over something or whatever.
I don't know why. I mean, no disrespect to pommel horse athletes out there, but I'm not sure why the fuck that's an Olympic sport.
It's so hard.
It's that. What is the dance all the kids do now?
They go like this.
Yeah, it's that on the fucking pommel horse. That's exactly what it is. That's all it is.
A ripped gymnast is gonna come for you.
I'll take it. A little 5'8" motherfucker.
Anyway. Tumble
Lee
track.
press on nails, tumble track.
I was doing back handsprings, and when I would go down, because it's a long trampoline essentially, so it makes it fun. It's like boom, boom, boom.
Oh, I see. Okay, it's like
it
that.
makes it easier to do a back
like Sky Zone.
Yes, but long, and there's pads on the side. So I do round off, and into my first back handspring, second back handspring, all the nails start popping off, and then they're just bouncing on the tumble track, and I like to like pick up my nails. And then my coach was like, why would you wear those here? Because then I had to do the bar later and there's like 1 or 2 left on and you have to like swing and kip up onto the bar, which is like right into your own thighs on the bar.
You're digging your own nails that are left.
This is why you have to have short nails as a gymnast and as a lesbian.
I'm just going to go through this list here.
I'm actually starting to sweat. I've done a lot of physical.
You've been the most physical person I've ever seen on a podcast.
I spilled coffee on my boobs earlier. I'm wearing a sports bra. I forgot this was taped, honestly.
It's not taped.
It's video recorded. I forgot it was video recorded.
Yeah, it is video recorded.
So I didn't wear any makeup, but I'm over makeup. I'm sick of it.
So let's just keep up with these embarrassing moments. How about your high school first love? This little story right here.
Mm-hmm. So I fell in love when I was probably, I guess it would have been like freshman or sophomore year. I was in speech and debate. I was like in the humorous category.
In a what?
It's called speech and debate.
Oh, speech and debate. Okay.
But it wasn't the debate team. I did the humorous category. And it kind of set me up for stand-up in a lot of ways. It's just like a 10-minute piece that's humorous, and you perform all the characters.
And you come up with it yourself?
No, you take a play, you cut it down to 10 minutes, and you play all the characters. And it's like a one-woman show, except it was all mostly men. So one-man show. But you would go up and compete against everybody with their 10-minute piece. But anyway, the guy I was in love with was 2 years older, and he was also in the humor category. We went to the same school. He was always like the lead of the musicals. And so I fell in love with him. And
now, did he know you fell in love with him?
Yeah, it was not unrequited.
All right.
And then we started dating. He left for college. He left for college. We were in love, and it was great. But then I'm never sure. Like, this is actually comforting to me, because it's like the guy is always sure. He'll be like, I love you. I want to spend the rest of my life with you. And I'm sure because of my upbringing, I'm like, yeah, but not really, And so I think I was never like totally sure, but he went away to college. And then one of his close friends went to the college my sisters went to. And I was there for like siblings weekend, and that guy made out with me. And so then I have a guilt problem. I can't like lie. And so I was like, oh God. And I didn't think of myself as a cheater, but I was like, oh God.
All it was a kiss.
Yeah, it was kissing. It was not just like, you know what I mean? There was tongue.
Yeah, I know what that means. Yeah, I know.
And so I had to tell him. It was like, it did suck, because it wasn't even worth it. It was just sort of like he kind of came on to me, and I was probably like, I don't know. I mean, I should take my own responsibility for it. I also participated in not a good decision. But he was also 2 years older and in college, and I was just sort of probably enjoying the attention. I have no clue. And he was already in college. So then, I don't know why I'm going into such detail, but we broke up, and I think he was probably mad at me for a while. And it
was your decision.
No, he broke up with me.
Well, then why would he be mad?
Well, because I hooked up with his friend.
Oh, okay. He was that pissed off about that, just from the kiss.
Yeah.
All right.
And so then he started dating somebody else in college, but like this is when you couldn't fully stalk, but Facebook started, so you could stalk a little bit. And I think he sort of like was just mad at me for that for a while. And I still was in love with him like for years, even all through college mostly, because then my junior year of college came and he had moved to LA. And so I was like, I'm going to go visit him in LA. I think I was a junior. Sorry. And so I went out there for like I interned at Steppenwolf Theater.
Steppenwolf?
Yeah, in Chicago the year prior. Mm-hmm. And then so in between my junior year, I was like, I'm going to go to LA and just visit and see what it's like, because I was a theater major and I wanted to do stage stuff. And it was an excuse to see him. And we did hook up. And I had been pining for him forever, and I would watch like The Notebook.
Good word, pining.
Yeah.
No.
And I would watch The Notebook, and it was like, I was like, this speaks to me, and we'll get back together someday. And so we hooked up, and we're in his place in LA, and I was 20 or something? So gross. I'm like really embarrassed.
You're really red.
Okay, but I think after we did the deed,
that's what you call it.
I leaned over to him. He's done me the service of never bringing it up.
You're still in touch?
Yeah,
with
he
him?
came and saw me at the Vegas Cellar.
Okay.
I said to him, it was a line from The Notebook, which was just like, I think we should look it up, but I said the exact line. Like I didn't know what I was missing or something like that. It's like, it's an exact line from The Notebook. Oh, are you looking it up?
For you over here.
After Rachel McAdams and Ryan Gosling sleep together, like later, spoiler alert. When they finally sleep back it's the morning before he says the classic line, he's like, pancake, like that. And it's like after they sleep together the first time, and I'm like hot. And it's like, it's along the lines of like, after they hooked up, like I didn't know what I was missing. And I said the line from the movie, and it's just like cringe.
What did he do?
I think he just laid there or laughed, because he probably saw this movie. Who didn't? Oh man, it's such a good movie though. What if I leaned over to him and I was like, if you're a bird, I'm a bird.
You should have leaned over and said, I used to queef as part of
I really am hot thinking about it. It's like after they hook up in the bed of her new house. Or the house he built her. Sorry if that was anticlimactic for a lot of people.
Well, I want to talk about, you have some early, I guess,
my glasses are fogging
sexual
up.
experiences, sort of coming of age stuff right here in this little chunk right here.
Yeah. I'm trying to think about the earliest.
Well, you said you used
My
to
neighbor.
hump stuff.
Yeah, when my neighbor got me into humping, like her specifically, but
Humping her? Nuh-uh. Wait, what? How old was she?
I don't remember. We must have been like in first grade or something.
You guys the same age?
Yeah.
And you're going to her house?
Yeah, and just like basically
But you
laying
were
on each other
humping-
and
you said
humping.
you were
But then
humping
later,
before
I
that?
felt
Oh,
like
later.
I would feel like this feels like maybe wrong. And then for a little while, I was like, maybe I'm gay, you know?
And you would just lay on top of each other
Yeah,
and
and
hump.
no kissing or anything
No,
like that.
you never got caught.
One time, I think her mom came in and we were in what, you know, like at a hotel, there's that little part between.
Blackbeard's daughter's in here humping my girl. Jesus Christ.
They weren't keeping up with his career at the time. But there's like a bed and then there's that little part between the wall in the hotel room. Some people call it the used condom pit.
Okay.
But
I haven't heard that.
This was a home. So we were like in that little area, hiding essentially. And her
Just
mom came in
grinding
and she was
on
like,
you.
girls, where are you? And then we were like, you know, probably like hot.
Yeah.
And then I think we kind of started to cut it out. But she was always like a little more advanced. And I mean, she showed me Silence of the Lambs like in first grade.
What?
Yeah.
That little girl did?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I rode around with a crochet hook in my
terrifying to watch
basket.
that now.
I put a crochet hook in my basket on my bike in case anybody came for me.
That was your
And one
defense.
time I had a van, or maybe it was at the park. Yeah, or a van pull up next to me. This is like terror. A van pull up next to me as I'm riding to the market, probably to get some Jolt Cola. And they leaned over to me and they're like, Beth. Like they knew my name. I rode so fast into the grocery store. And then only later did I realize that I had puffy painted my name on the front of my shirt.
Oh, so they didn't know you.
Yeah, they didn't. Oops. But scary nonetheless.
That was big back in the day. We used to have our name on our shirt too. And
Yeah.
that was when Adam, the poor boy that was kidnapped and killed, and when his dad came out, it was all these things of don't put your fucking kid's name on their shirt because it's a stranger can walk up and they don't know any better.
I'm like, hey.
My mom put them on
Hey,
every
Ryan.
fucking shirt we had.
She was
My
like,
shit said
take
Ryan
'em.
on the sleeves, the back. In case you missed me and I walked by, I was on the back.
You didn't know, but she had written like free.
Oh my God. So then this one's interesting here. You had a big crush on somebody.
Oh yeah, my cousin. He was technically
Said no,
he
so
was, he was technically like my mom's cousin's son, Tommy.
That's like I know it's not a second cousin. That's what I call it,
Right.
but it's like some removed shit.
Yeah, it would have
It's
been
probably like
fine.
the first removed. It would have been fine. Your kids wouldn't have been, but you all would have been. Did he know that?
Yes, I would like run around trying to kiss him. He was older too.
Yeah.
I don't really have a full story about it.
Then you just stopped doing that too.
No, I mean I have a lot of attractive cousins, but I've never tried anything.
What about you had a rumor about you in the 8th grade? You said.
Oh yeah. So because I don't know why I was a late bloomer. Maybe gymnastics.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. I was so fit for so long. I've always had like a strong base because I was a gymnast from I think first grade on until I quit, which would have been around 6th or 7th grade to do like sports and other high school things. So I was always really strong, but then flat chested, which made me really insecure. And like that would be a definite thing guys would say to me. I remember like some guy saying like, will you go to the dance with me? And I was like, no. And they were like, well, you're flat. You know what I mean?
Oh,
it was like, yeah,
flat anyway.
yeah, you're flat anyway.
See me at fucking kids' parties, though, motherfucker. I'll put my legs behind my back right now. Put you right out. Of
What you don't know is I quit.
on command. I fart on command.
You just walked away from the best thing that ever happened to you. But yeah, and so yeah, what was that? What was it again?
This was an 8th grade rumor.
Oh, right. So I was like a late bloomer. I didn't really have boobs, which links into the fingy in the butthole night,
Yeah,
which
we'll get
was
to
like.
that. Which, by the way, the paper says dingy in the butthole, which made me think it was something
Typo.
completely different. Yeah, it's a big typo. That's a big typo.
A dinghy you could possibly get up there. Okay, so yeah, late bloomer, no boobs, but I had like a 6-pack there for a while. I was very strong, very flexible. But I was a late bloomer. I didn't get my period, I don't think, until 9th grade. And because of that, I didn't really have armpit hair, or I did. I remember my sisters, they used to call me guitar strings, because by the time I noticed that I did have armpit hair, it was like 7 inches long.
By the time I noticed.
Yeah, because it wasn't. I was like, nothing's happening here. Where would anything else be? And I also didn't have pubes. And so I remember we were drinking in 8th grade one night, just like some Milwaukee's Best. And
Damn, that is early.
It is early, but like I don't remember. At the time, because I don't have an addiction, thankfully, issue. I never was like drinking to oblivion and barfing. I definitely did a couple times, and I kind of learned my lesson. This night, we were just sort of like experimenting, having beers, and I remember mooning all the girls, and then at the next day, the rumor spread through school that I had no pubes. Because I really bent over a little too far on the moon.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was going to ask. Yeah.
I added a little hoot.
Get a little sun to it.
A little hoot to the moon. Yeah. So I shouldn't have bent over all the way.
So
yeah.
And then did it just follow you through school?
Yeah, it was so embarrassing.
And now you're like, I was ahead of the curve.
Yeah,
Now
well,
nobody
yeah.
wants
Then
pubes.
I grew my boobs with ice cream in college. I grew them like as I gained weight, because this is a sports bra, but
I see.
my boob looks good.
Your one boob
My
looks
one
great.
boob.
You really looks nice.
But yeah, it was like, I think just being a late bloomer and wanting to keep up, I wore padded bathing suits, and those are tough because you get out of the water and it's like you just drip a bunch of water out. And then I stole my mom's water bra, which I have a story about in my stand-up. But like the water bra can only do so much. Like it made me inadvertently celibate.
Do you hear it? Like if you were to push
it's like
you hear it?
like a little bit, yeah. And so then we would party and go down to University of Dayton.
Yeah, so you you're 8th grade,
Yeah.
and you're going to a college,
Yes.
a real college,
Yeah.
not a community college, to
Right.
party.
Yes.
And how do you do? Are you with
We just
older
walk
people,
into
friends?
a frat house.
At 8th grade?
Yeah,
What are you? You're 13,
probably.
and you walked right into a frat house.
If I think gymnastics saved me from.
That's just crazy to even think. We never.
Well, it's crazy to think that those college guys suspended their disbelief.
Yeah,
You know,
for
to be
real.
like, these
Yeah.
girls, they're probably fine.
Remember this little girl that queefed at the party I was at a couple years ago, right?
You're all grown up, baby. I've had my eye on you since I saw you queef the first time.
That's something you just don't forget. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A 6-year-old queefing in the corner.
Can I
over there
grab you a dog
on
bone?
Purpose. I mean, you just don't forget that kind of shit. There are people that still talk about you. They don't even know who you are anymore. Like, this one time I was at this guy's house, man. This little girl came out and just queefed for about 3 minutes straight and then just left. I've never forgot that.
Yeah, we just walked into a frat house.
Okay, so
My
who are
friend-
you with? Are you with someone that
I'm with
drives?
three. No, we walked
you
because our
walked.
friend lived right at the edge of. They used to call it the University of Dayton, the students area where there's housing, like off-campus housing. They called it the ghetto. That was the name of it.
Okay.
And so she lived right up against the ghetto. And
You guys just said, fuck it, we're
we
going to walk
walked.
into a frat house.
Yeah.
And you did.
And I was always the one who was like, I'm a bit more of a rule follower. And like I said, genuinely, that definitely made me more timid to experiment with anything or anyone, because it's like the minute they touch it, they're going to know that it's water in a bra, you know? And I just wasn't very experienced. I think I got my first kiss maybe at the end of 8th grade or something.
You hadn't even had your period yet.
Yeah, exactly.
You hadn't even had your period yet.
Yeah. Tight as a drum. So I basically...
That wasn't what I was getting at, but okay.
So So
there's
one of my
three of
girlfriends
you?
goes upstairs. Yeah, I think we were like
Oh,
three
hold
of
on.
us here.
We
and
have to set the scene.
2 girls, I think, snuck out of their house. 3 were with me.
Is
it was
there,
me,
or
Mary,
is this a frat party?
Amy,
30 people in the house, or
Jenny,
is this
and
just
Sarah.
the guys that are there? Is this a party you walked into, or you just walked into a frat house?
It was like maybe,
yeah.
I remember it just being very dark and nighttime, and like I think they were hanging.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it was a party. I just remember things. I'm like, how many people were there? And it was like, it wasn't packed. It wasn't crazy packed, but there were other people kind of walking around, milling about.
And a college kid goes upstairs
with one of my friends.
8th grade friend.
Yeah, she did have honking tits. Yeah, they were big. And so they went upstairs. One of my other friends made out with some other guy. Then the cops came. So I got in a closet with some guy. They knew enough to hide.
But are cops
hide
there?
The babies.
Underage kids? Are they?
Turns out, yes.
Really?
Because two of our other friends hadn't met up with us yet. I mean, I think this was early cell phone days. Like, tick, 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 tick,
yeah.
tick, 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 tick. Hi.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it was like, we probably didn't know where they were, but they ended up calling the police because they thought we were lost. We'd all been drinking. Not a ton. One of them definitely now has a problem, so she probably had drank more. I'm just realizing.
Yeah.
But and called the police. They came where we were, and it's kind of like good they did that, I guess.
Yeah, hell yeah.
You know.
So you got one girl's upstairs, another
One
girl's
girl's
kissing,
making out
and
with
you're
this
now
other-
hiding in a closet
with the guy, and I'm kissing him, but it sucks, and you can tell he doesn't really want to maybe be kissing me. I mean, I was just sort of like, but I also was like, don't touch my boobs because they're fake, you know. And it was like,
because I'm in 8th grade.
right. Don't ask me about anything but cartoons. I don't know.
Yeah, right.
You know?
What's an SAT? I don't even.
So yeah, and I made out with him a little, maybe kind of touched my boob. I have no clue. And then I can't remember if he went for my butt, but basically my friend Amy was like, he fingered my butthole.
The
and
guy
I was
she
like,
went upstairs with?
No, the guy she was just making out with, maybe nearby, maybe another closet. I forget where they went.
How much time did he get over there?
I'm just sort of like, and I just remember being like, you don't have to let him.
Yeah, right.
You know,
I say, hey, now.
Right, but I think he was like, and then maybe mine was like going down like this a little bit on my butt crack. And I was sort of like, from then on, I was like, what is it with college guys and buttholes?
I was going to say, what is it with that specific fraternity? That
Right. I think they were kicked off campus. And I don't know if it was because of us. I think it was other things too. But I do believe that they were.
Underage girls.
Yeah, one of the guys' name was
drinking.
PJ. I remember that. Classic PJ.
Classic PJ.
And so the police come, they take us away.
They do?
Yeah. They set us in this conference room of the police station.
They took you back to the station, not home, even though the girl
I don't
was
remember
right
the
there.
car ride, and not because I was drunk.
Right.
I always maintain, you know what I mean? There are definitely times where I absolutely got out of control and barfed or blacked out, like yes. But I like was timid, you know, or tentative about it. And so I don't remember the car ride necessarily, but I remember being there. The cop slammed the phone book down on the table, and he's like, call your parents. And I was like,
This is the Yellow Pages.
yeah. And he's like, call your parents. And I was like, I know the number.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? So I was like, I don't really want to call my mom. She's going to be pissed, obviously. She was really just more
My dad's a
worried.
piece of pizza outside right now in Orlando. We ain't going to get him.
They're 3 hours later. He's probably up breakfast.
working for
He's a
Oscar
breakfast
Mayer,
burrito by
man.
now.
Yeah.
But
Breakfast burrito.
so my mom came, and you know, she looked tired and upset and very pretty. She's so pretty. And then she was just like upset with me and pissed, like you could have been hurt. And then she's right.
Could have been way more than her.
Yeah. And she's right. So yeah, we were dumb. We didn't do that again, but I didn't really want to do it. I'm not saying they made me. It was just sort of like, this doesn't feel, it wasn't like my fun time to go do that. But yeah, then it went down as fingy in the butthole night.
Jesus Christ. He fingered her butthole.
Yeah, I think my other friend saw PJ for a little bit.
Dated him?
Like I think saw him a couple more times.
The college guy.
I think so. Because she ended up dating a senior later. And of course got hell for it.
Yeah, I mean.
He's the one who should have got hell for it.
Yes, exactly. He should have been the one that got hell for it.
Women. They're always trying to
I can't get over that.
keep us down. There's so many more.
Tell me, I want to hear about sorority rush hell.
Okay, so I was in a sorority for about 2 weeks. And
I thought you were going to say years.
They're always really nice to me still. The one I chose was filled with awesome women.
What's it called?
AOPI at Miami. They really were.
Is that Miami of Ohio?
Yeah.
Is that where you went there?
Mm-hmm. And they still I've had women that still come to my shows occasionally. Like I have good memories with some of those people for sure. I ended up stopping because I was a theater major and I just didn't have as much time for it. There's no sorority houses there because in that county, more than 7 women living in a home together is called technically a brothel.
Nah. Are you serious?
Yeah.
So
of course the dudes had frat houses, but the women couldn't have sorority houses. I think it's 7 or 12. Something like that, more than a certain amount.
6-girl sorority then?
Well, no, they gave us like a hallway of a dorm. I never lived in it because I didn't make that far. Mm-hmm. But I was in it for a while and then I just kind of stopped going to stuff. And it was just more like I was paying dues on something to be a part of that I couldn't really even be a part of. But the rush was freshman year, I think the beginning of second semester or something. And it was just my hell. I mean, like, I don't like dressing up.
Like, I know guys do fucked up shit, but I've seen some shit where women get crazy. The girls get crazy.
Yeah. This was more like formal interviews. Like, it was more like dressing up in your nice stuff, which I'm not saying I was wearing rags or whatever, but I wasn't the girl that, like, I definitely remember getting gifted by my grandma, like one of those Vera Bradley bags that was very popular. Miami was known as like the girls in Uggs and Vera Bradley bags, or like Tory Burch, or it's a lot of rich girls. And I just wasn't that. And so I eventually I had jobs and I got some of those things, like a bag or whatever, but it was never really me. And I remember dressing up and going to these interviews, and it's like never ending revolving interviews. It's like their inner circle, you're on the outside. It's like next. And you go to different sorority freaking chapter rooms in a building. It's not their house because there are no houses.
And they're like, and have you ever had your butthole fingered? Okay. Can
You're
you
in.
free phone command?
You're
We're looking
in.
for somebody to liven up these parties, goddammit.
And then lastly, what does your father do?
Oh, man.
Because we have a lot of clout here that we like to maintain at Alpha.
We're looking for a mascot.
Yeah,
like a professional
DZ.
mascot.
Yeah. So like it's like sometimes those questions like from like I remember Delta Zeta being like, what does your dad do? And it's like, how much time do you have? I haven't started stand up yet.
He doesn't raise a family, but he does everything else.
Yeah. So it was like, it kind of made me face being
Did it make you feel
the feeling of being good
inferior,
enough?
or-
Yeah, like maybe not thin enough, maybe my clothes weren't right, and my hair wasn't perfect. I didn't know how to do my makeup or whatever. It just felt like I was always had to be funny. Like that was my redeeming quality, was that I was the funny one or something. And that was like all through college. I remember going on a cruise my junior year with my friends, or senior year, like for our spring break, and which I hate cruises, but
I've
I
never been,
agreed to
so
do
many
it.
People say they hate it.
Yeah, they're bad. So I did it, and like a random guy that wasn't in our friend group showed up. He was a friend of a friend. His name was Adam, and we spent the whole week together. And this is me, like I've gotten chubbier. My college years were just like a little chubbier, and I have always kind of yo-yoed, but you know, it's a cruise, you're wearing bathing suits, you're eating upwards 7 meals a day. You know, it's like we hung out, we really hit it off. I was having fun. He was like very fit and handsome. And I was still like, I didn't like hate myself, but I was chubbier, I guess. And I remember I was like, I think he really likes me. And he was like leaning towards that way, and it was fun. And then like the last night, he was like, you want to help me pick out a gift for my girlfriend? And I was like he had led me so far that sentence was like, you've tricked me.
Shit, yeah.
You know, it was like, I do think that there was not maliciousness on his part, but I think he had to have used me a little bit, but maybe that's how I felt. Mm-hmm. But it was like, that definitely made me feel like, oh, I'm not worthy.
Ugh.
And then,
that sucks.
yeah. But I've also had a lot of wonderful men in my life.
What's this? Can I say that name?
Sure.
Something with
I know. I don't know if there's anything good there.
All right, we won't say just in case it's a name.
Yeah.
Tell me
I mean,
about
his name's tattooed on my back. So.
Is it really?
Uh-huh.
Why?
I loved him.
Who was he?
He was my
about that?
Yeah.
Second cousin.
He was my second cousin. It was a last ditch effort. But no, he was my college like crush. Like I remember the first moment I saw him. It was like outside Presser Hall, and I was like, he will be mine. I was a freshman. I think he was a junior. And yeah, it was beautiful blue eyes and tan skin. And I was like, that guy. And he was so funny. And so I crushed on him forever. And then he graduated. I threw myself at him repeatedly. And he was always like, kind of like, no. But he always...
I got a tattoo of you on my back before you guys even
That
did.
wasn't yet. I had to reveal that later. I've had this for 6 years.
I've had this for 6 years.
We've been together for 3 months. I've had this for 6 years.
Got this in 8th grade at this frat party I went to in the closet one night.
Listen, I visualize and materialize. Here I am. So you
still have a man's name tattooed on your back.
Yeah. Sometimes my boyfriend now will be naked, and then a couple, like, he has this great joke. We'll be like, babe, who's Nick?
It just says Nick on your back?
No, it's his signature.
You went that far?
Yeah.
Well, here we go. Here we go. Let's see it. Oh, yeah, it's a great signature.
Really more of a lease.
Yeah, let's say so.
But yeah, I have a joke about it.
Of course you do. All right, so hold on.
So I loved him so much.
That's more of a commitment than dating the guy, I feel like.
I thought I was going to marry him.
You did.
Yeah.
How long did you date?
3 years.
How long did you date before you got the tattoo?
Oh, like maybe 3 or 6 months.
Months.
Yeah.
You went early, huh?
Yeah, yeah. It was
never
early.
Gone to try and have it removed.
Never will.
Never will.
I love it.
It's staying.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to get him back someday. I was like, does your word mean nothing? You signed me.
You signed me, motherfucker. How did he feel about you?
He loved it.
I
think he thought it was sexy, and he liked it. Yeah. It was never, it also wasn't like a gross reveal. I wasn't like, look what I did for you. I was like, I just did this. I thought it was kind of fun.
Oh, you didn't go together?
No. I surprised him with it, and I was like, look at that. And he's like, oh my God, that's awesome. I mean, we thought we were going to marry each other.
Are you still in touch?
No, we haven't talked since we broke up.
Why? You talked to the other guy.
I think it's too hard. I think I made a bad decision.
How do you not reach out to some... This is my question for you, is just how, in this day and age of immediate contact, 1 degree of separation from almost anyone that's at least on social media, how do you every fucking day shower, see that goddamn name, and not just send an email or something? How do you do that?
I've thought about it.
I would think you would think about his
married.
Fucking first and... Oh, all right.
Yeah, he's married and he has a kid, and like I still, his family and we still follow each other, you know, because we have like love for each other, I would imagine. You know, I care about them.
Does his wife know that his name is tattooed on your back?
I'm sure she's an avid watcher of all my specials and videos. So yeah, she does know.
I hope like hell she fucking just finds out about this right now.
I'll get her name. I'll get your name. If you're her, write in the comments section, and I'll get your name under his.
Tag her.
And your son's name underneath it.
Oh my God.
But yeah, and then I forget where we were going with that, but I eventually got him.
You did?
It was the weekend I opened for Tom Segura at the Funny Bone.
Yeah, you told me about this. Said how nice Tom was.
Yeah, he was really, really sick, like very ill. And he was like, I'm barely getting through this. And like now that I've been a comic and headlining for a number of years, I understand now, like we don't really I don't feel like often we get sick, and we never can, or really, we can't cancel really. I've had moments where I was like, one moment, I was like, I might shit my pants. It was so close. I was like, before, I'm like, I can't go. I don't have time to go. And this, I can't trust my butthole. And I went on stage, and didn't disappear immediately, but it's odd. It does disappear.
It does disappear.
Because it wasn't nerves. It was Vegas.
I canceled one. It was my first time I had Brea Improv. It was going to be my first weekend. It was like 2 Friday, 2 Saturday shows. I'm in the shower getting ready to go, and I literally dropped to my knees in pain like I've never fucking felt before. And I'm like, I got to get rushed to the hospital. So I call at the time the GM, and I'm like, look, I'm not making it. I'm telling you right now. I know this doesn't look good, but I don't even give a fuck. and ended up having kidney stones.
Oh my God.
I could. They were like, "Are you gonna make it?" I was
Did
like,
you
I
keep
sent
any?
them pictures from the hospital bed. Like, I'm not fucking making it, and that's the only time I've ever, had to cancel.
Yeah, Tom pushed through, and he was kind to me, like even in his bad state, and because we're both from that area, Southwest Ohio.
Yeah, he's Cincinnati,
and it was cool. I was happy to get to open for him. I always thought he was so funny. He reminds me of Nick. Of that guy who
his Tom signature on your back.
I'm going to.
Yeah,
I haven't told Christina yet, but I will. So I invited Nick to the shows to see me open for Tom. And another one of my exes came, Jason with his wife, because they're from the Cincinnati area. So it's like I'm friends with some of my exes, but like not the ones that
and their wives don't seem to mind.
She was nice to me. Yeah. Jason's wife was nice. Yeah. But anyway, I invited Nick, but this was like before he was ever married. This is right before and he didn't come until the last show, of course. He put it off. And then we went and got food afterwards. And then the night just unfolded, and he saw where the Funny Bone had put me up in the condo. And he's like, "You can't stay here." When I first got to the condo at the Funny Bone, Newport on the Levee, Funny Bone, I pulled back. It's where they put comics in the condo. Tom was for sure at a 4-star hotel. But I pull back the sheets on the bed. It's already damp to touch.
Ew. And
because the window was open. There was like dew.
All right.
And it's damp to touch. I pull back the sheets, and there's a one long black hair and a piece of hay.
What?
I called my mom.
Donkey make the fucking bed.
I called my mom and I was like, "You have to bring sheets. We're sleeping on these fake pleather couches." I don't know why I didn't just get a hotel, but I didn't have money. I didn't have money, and my mom couldn't probably afford to get us a hotel either. So then the last night I stayed with Nick.
I spent all my money on this fucking tattoo.
No, that was pre-tattoo. Pre we even started dating. It was like him coming to see me perform, and
so you really did get it before you started dating?
No,
okay.
We were years in the making.
Gotcha.
I was like, I have my sights on you.
I see.
And it unfolded like 3 or 4 years later or something. I visited him in LA at one time. Then I went back to Chicago.
But you really did get the tattoo at what point?
3 months into us dating.
Not knowing each other.
No, I knew him
like
for years. And I was like, he will be mine. Oh, yes. He will be mine.
And he was.
Yeah. For 3 years. What happened? Unfortunately, we were long distance the whole time. He lived in Ohio and Cincinnati, and I lived in LA. And it sucks really bad because it was hard to be long distance like that. I think he admitted at one point, like he started growing resentful of stand-up. I kind of chose it over everything.
It's what we do.
Yeah. And I understand why someone would feel that way. I really, really loved him, but I also wasn't ready to move home and give up. I don't think I had gotten any huge breaks. I think I did Conan, and I think that was the only thing really, besides like maybe Chelsea Lately or, some other things. But like, I wanted to keep going. And Sarah had just asked me to be on her show at Largo. It was like close to me being like, I feel like I'm headed in the right direction. And then I got this random job at Comedy Central, and a guy that was very unhealthy for me sort of pulled me in and moved very quickly. And the next time I saw him,
or like that's kind of speed.
Kind of.
All right.
But and the next time I saw,
like you fall quick.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I can. Yes. And then I'm like, whoops.
I think that's a lot of people.
Yeah, so you can fall for somebody and you can't always tell whether it's like passion or alcoholism or mental illness. And so the next time I saw Nick, I broke up with him, and it was really sad. Yeah. And I haven't talked to him since. My mom and him exchanged letters, she told me.
Letters? They still write each other once in a while?
Not now.
Yeah.
But because he's moved on with his life. But I think that's like, that happens, I think.
You mentioned Chelsea, and you said here, the line just says Chelsea Lately second time. What's that all about?
Well, the first time it's very like Gladiator. Like you get called on the show, it's a big deal, and then it's like
competitive. You have to speak up and jump in when you can.
Me 6 years ago, no. Me now, I'm like, I can get in there, and I've been in enough writers' rooms to be like, I know I'm funny, I'm confident, I'm good at my job, blah 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 blah. But when I first moved out here, I was just a stand-up, and I was even more timid. I was even more subtle and dark and deadpan, and like for me to go on a show like that, it's just ill-fitting. I did do my best to rise to the occasion. Joe Coy was with me. Jen Kirkman was with me the first time. They were very kind and great to me.
Love Jenny Kirkman.
Yeah, they were awesome to me. Joe is, they both are. They're great.
But big personalities.
Yeah,
Especially
and
to have
they
to try to
didn't fully
find
eat
your,
me up at all. It was like I was fine. And after your first one on Chelsea, she's very much like old day gladiator. It's either like after your first time. And so I got to do it a second time. But one of the makeup artists I used to serve at the coffee shop that I worked at, and I still worked at, like you do Conan, and I went to work the next day at the coffee shop.
So glamorous.
Yeah, I did Chelsea. I went to the coffee shop the next day. So it's like the makeup artist for Chelsea would come and I'd serve her. And so she was there and she said, how was it? And right when I got off stage, I was like, oh my gosh, I was so nervous, but it was fun. Because it was. I was like, my adrenaline was flowing and I did good and I wrote my jokes before the first time. And she's like, great. And then I left. Then I got a call from the booker. My managers did. They filtered it and said, hey, you're going to go back on this date. And just like, just go confident. Like, don't mention that you're nervous or anything like that. And I was like, okay. So then I get there. I'm already still nervous. It's my second time.
Right.
I was on with, it doesn't matter who I was on with. They were nice. And Caparulo and Braun Oler was my second time.
Outside of Conan, was this your like second and third television?
Yes. Yeah. So I mean,
still very new to all
that.
No
one understands what that feels like.
Right.
It's very stressful and scary. And especially what you see is not what it feels like when you're there.
Right.
I know that seems like obvious, but it's just so different. So, the booker, right when I get there, is like, the last time you were here, you told Chelsea's makeup artist that you were nervous. She told Chelsea that you were nervous. Chelsea hates it when people are nervous. Don't do that. And I was like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
now I'm
like, so it was awful going into it. And I was like scared and timid and I couldn't get anything. Chelsea directly said something to me because I had been told at one point, my first time, like, don't really look at her or whatever. But the first time I was on, Chelsea looked at me and she was like, hi, Beth. So it was like I was getting messages when she looked at me.
I love her. I think this
is what I mean.
Yeah,
and so she looked at me. She was like, hi, Beth. The second time she said a joke on me, which was deserved and fun. And I just didn't know how to come back. Because I was like, oh my God, she's talking to me. And then the booker came over to me and was like, you really need to get in there. Like adding pressure. Like you, blah, 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 blah. Instead of like, I don't know, helping or something after the first thing you already told me before we started this taping. And so it was just like, I remember going to the parking garage and calling Julian McCullough and he like talked me off a cliff.
Yeah, he did.
He was like, it's okay. It's not the only thing you'll ever do. You're not really built for that right now. You did good even just going on.
It's tough. It's tough to jump in like that. I was at the Laugh Factory one night. I did a set and I did really well. And she was there and I didn't know she was there. And she came up to me and she's like, hi, I'm Chelsea Ham. I was like, yeah, I know who you are. I'm a huge fan. I fucking love what you do. And she's like, you were really funny and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, thank you so much. I just went home on a high from having that be said to me by Chelsea, And then Christina.
And then you got a call and they were like, we heard you met Chelsea.
And you were nervous.
You were nervous.
Yeah.
Chelsea hates when people are nervous. You have to quit stand-up.
But Christina was working on the show at the time. And she calls me. It's a Friday. And she's like, I'm calling you to tell you something. You can't say anything, but I love you. I want to tell you. I was just sitting here. And she said, Chelsea personally walked back and told the booker, we have to have Ryan Sickler on this show right now. And I was like, oh, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
So I tell my manager, I'm like, maybe you could reach out or expect them to reach out. Maybe. I don't really know. And then they never had me on. They never had me on.
That's weird.
They never had me on the show. Yeah.
I wonder why.
I don't know.
I guess we could redo the joke. It's like, Chelsea wants you on the show, but she hates when bookers email about being on the show. Your booker emailed about being on the show, so you're off the show.
Maybe it is something like that. I think we have time for one more, and I want to hear.
Oh my God.
What is this?
Is this
one?
me?
No, it's not. This is all you. Oh, of course, your dog. How could we forget?
No.
We're gonna finish with the dog.
Okay. What if it's anticlimactic?
The line is not so.
So
how old are you, first of all, at this story?
Sometimes in my brain, I'll just always be like, third grade. Like I don't know. It was old enough to walk home alone. Mm-hmm. So, and be home alone after school until everybody got home from whatever they were doing, extracurriculars or work. We had a code on the front door. You turn the knob. It would be like, turn the knob right, and it'd be like 0, 1, 2, 3, digital.
Okay.
To 7, to the left, 7, 6, 5, 4, to the right. Like you do a combo. And if you messed up, it would be like, and then you have to wait
for it to count down.
Like
that?
You have to wait and then
it's
try
like a
again.
rotary phone.
Well, the battery died on it, and I couldn't get in. And I was walking home from school, and I had to shit really bad. For some reason, I know what it was. I go in the backyard, and I shit underneath the deck stairs.
Is it like the middle? It's after school. Is it in the middle of the open? Like, can your neighbors see you if they want?
There's a chain link fence.
Yeah, those real obstructed chain link fences that are out there.
Yeah, my neighbor was old. He was probably like, having a nice sit, you know. Enjoying the weather.
And I'll say, yeah to that.
And then
so you're under the stairs.
And then
shitting.
of course my sister gets home like right then.
Right then.
Yeah. She opens the door and lets the dog out. It runs out. Eats my shit.
Nah. Hey, y'all said don't eat my shit. You didn't say anything about eating anybody else's shit, goddammit. You ain't gonna rub my nose in this one. I'm gonna eat this pile.
God, I'm crying.
That poor dog.
You know when a dog is going after something, like, because it knows it shouldn't have it. You're like pulling its collar and it's like, ah. It's like, you don't know what you're doing. So I finally kind of got it away from it. It's not, I don't think.
Oh, God.
I think it only got an appetizer's worth, but it was like, it was bad. Oh my God. And then when I texted you all of those, I think afterwards I texted you, is that good enough or something? And I was like, I think I said like.
You said that one about the dog.
I said I want to just say, I remember what I wrote. I said, dog eating my shit was the toughest to send, mostly because I don't think it was necessary to include.
Oh, well, I'm so glad you did. And I'm so glad you came here. And I'm so glad you opened up. These were fantastic stories. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Will you one more time promote your dates or
Will
whatever
you do
you
one
want,
more
your
back bend?
Do one more back bend.
Sweet Beth, SWEET, Beth.com for just dates and info. And then pretty much across social media, I'm just Beth Stelling, BETHSTELLING.
Well, I love you. Thank you so much for coming
love
on
you.
here. You're the best. I am Ryan Sickler on all social media, ryansickler.com. We'll talk to you all next week.